Dan Leach back here on beautiful South Beach. I'm here with the beautiful Gavin Filmore, the CRO of Tidal. Great to see you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Never a bad day when you're at a conference on a beach, is it?
It's a fact that being here is better than a old dusty room at traditional conferences. So we're happy, right?
Is well said, my friend. Well, listen, let's get into Tidal. First, before we get into anything else, let everyone know about Tidal. I know there's some really good stuff and exciting stuff going on right now.
Yeah, so Tidal's a white label ETF platform, which is sort of, if I was to encapsulate that, that's the easy button for people to bring ETFs to market. And we've been having a good run at it. So we're just about 30 billion in assets, over 200 ETFs, 60 different partners. So we're touching a lot of different parts of the whole ETF ecosystem, and we love it.
So it's great to be a man of Tidal right now. That's for sure.
I'm pretty happy to be
30B is pretty penny right there.
I'm feeling all right in my position.
Well, some aren't, as far as overall general, kind of anxiety in the markets right now. There's a lot going on. Obviously, there's tariff situations. There's, some geopolitical stuff going on. What would you say to people right now? Because there's a way through all this, obviously, but I wonder from your perspective, for the people that are anxious and obviously to be in getting involved with someone like Tidal or whoever else, what would you say to those people right now that maybe they're not hearing enough?
Yeah, well, so I think, market cycles come and go, right? I graduated in 2007 and went to work for Lehman Brothers, so I've certainly seen some things.
That was a great idea at the time.
Yeah, it felt good, and then it felt bad real fast. But, they come and go. I think what the ETF market has proven is that actually in times of volatility, people go to the ETFs for a source of liquidity. They perform extremely well through those market environments. So, yeah, chop is a little challenging naturally, but if you can fly through that chop and get to the other side, you come out and you realize that you've got a strong business, and there's just so much opportunity within the ETF ecosystem.
And I think that's the other thing that I think people don't necessarily understand enough. That, there are people out there that are, they kind of fought around ETF stuff. They maybe have been involved in it in the past. But if there was something right now you think that is the biggest misconception when it comes to ETFs in general, but also, what you've seen at Tidal yourself, what would that be?
Yeah, I think people are starting to think, is there too much product now, right? So there's so much product coming to market. The counts are just increasing every year. And especially if you're a new entrant to the ETF market, you might say there's no room for me. I don't think that's true at all, right? So first of all, we've seen so much innovation in product development, especially around sort of what used to be the fringe, right? So it used to be a question of, is active management here to stay? That ship has sailed, right? The growth there is tremendous. Now what we're seeing is derivative strategies are kind of where there's a lot of white space, and we see people really coming to market focused there and being rewarded for it.
Now, speaking of derivatives, there are many that have called you the master of derivative innovation.
Your
reputation precedes you.
I love that. Let's go.
Let's get into this, because obviously there is a lot of respect for what you've done in the past.
Yeah, so I think people have sort of started testing the limits of what the ETF wrapper can do. There was regulation change that supported that, and now what we're seeing is market participants like Tidal, but also market makers, exchanges, are building the functionality to be able to take what used to not be able to be done in an ETF and support it through liquidity and support it through regulation. And again, that's just creating new opportunities. So if you used to think, you can't do that in an ETF wrapper, well, today it's being done, and oftentimes that thing that used to not be able to be done is the fastest area of growth, right? So if you think about like derivative income ETFs, just explosive growth. The biggest active ETFs are in that space. And that's just, and then like think about defined outcome, right? 6 years ago, that was a new idea, and now it's
completely brand new.
It's taking the market by storm. And at the end of the day, it's always about the same things, right? The ETF wrapper is about liquidity, efficiency, cost, and if you're able to do that for esoteric strategies or more complex strategies, that's just telling that same story over and over again.
Beautifully said. Now, being the master of derivative innovation, I got to have you spin us forward 5-10 years. What do you see the future becoming? I know it's tough to look at it, but if you could give a just general idea where you see it's
going. You can quote me saying that I think we're probably only in about inning 2 of that derivative story. So if you look at a lot of these strategies, right, the most common being buy right income, that's like your most basic income derivative strategy that you would learn 101 derivative school, right? So that's just scratching the surface. And then if you look at like defined outcome, I was a structured note guy in my past life. That is one of the most basic structured note payoffs. So where's everything else, right? Because I know there's a ton more payoffs. So I think we're in inning 2. I think we're going to keep seeing that accelerate. And now we're seeing things like obviously private credit and other areas like that coming into the ETF market slowly. So I just think this is the beginning beginning of that curve of innovation, not the end of that curve.
By the way, you're too young to have had past lives. So, Gavin Filmore, the CRO of Tidal, a true honor and pleasure speaking
Awesome.
with you.
Thank you
Thanks
for
so much.
having me. It was a pleasure.
It's been great.